Company rule expands. The process of annexation of Indian states by the East India Company from 1757 to 1857. The process of annexation of Indian states. Some policies they applied. And one such first policy mentioned in our lesson, that is subsidiary alliance. What do you mean by subsidiary alliance, and who introduced or who implemented this policy? Subsidiary alliance system that was introduced by Wellesley, the Governor General Wellesley. And what was that? A subsidiary alliance system. The doctrine of subsidiary alliance was introduced by Marcus Wellesley, British Governor General in India from 1798 to 1805. Early in his governorship, Wellesley adopted a policy of non-intervention in the princely states, but he later adopted the policy of forming subsidiary alliance. This policy was to play a major role in British expansion in India. And what was it? According to the terms of this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. They were to be protected by the company and had to pay for the subsidiary forces that the company was supposed to maintain for the purpose of his protection. If the Indian rulers failed to make the payments, then part of their territory was taken away as a penalty. Okay, that is subsidiary alliance system. And according to these terms, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. Indian ruler, they have no independent armed forces. The company, the East India Company, they were to be protected by the ruler, but had to pay some amount as subsidiary forces. And the company that was supposed to maintain for the purpose of this protection. If the Indian ruler failed to make the payment, the part of their territory was taken away as a penalty. Okay, then for example, Richard Wellesley was Governor General, and the Oudh, Hyderabad, that was forced to cede the territories on similar grounds. Then comes Tipu Sultan, the Tiger of Mysore. The company restored to direct military confrontation when it saw a threat to its political or economic interest. This can be illustrated with the case of a southern Indian state of Mysore. Tipu Sultan, also known as Tiger of Mysore, was the ruler of the kingdom of Mysore from 1782 to 1799. Scholar, soldier, and a poet, Tipu was the eldest son of a Sultan Hyder Ali of Mysore. Tipu promoted a more widespread use of Hindustani language in southern India. He introduced number of administrative innovations, including the introduction of a new coinage, new lunisolar calendar, and a new land revenue system. And he initiated the growth of Mysore silk industry. And Tipu expanded the iron-cased Mysorean rockets, which he displayed in his resistance against military advances of the British. And he also established a close relationship with the French. And he modernized his army with their help. And the British, they were very furious. They saw Hyder and Tipu was ambitious, arrogant, and dangerous rulers. And 4 wars were fought with Mysore, starting from the year 1767. In the last one, only in the last battle, the Battle of Srirangapattam, did the company ultimately win a victory. And Tipu, the famous ruler of Karnataka, Tipu Sultan, he was killed. and Mysore was placed under the former ruling dynasty, and a subsidiary alliance was imposed on the state. Then another important topic that it is related with the war with the Marathas. Here we can see the Tipu Sultan's, and then he was killed, and his famous toy tiger. Now this toy tiger that was kept in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. The British took it away. War with the Marathas. Marathi speaking region, they extended from Mumbai to Goa. From the 18th century, the company also took and eventually destroyed Maratha power. And their defeat in the Third Battle of Panipat, that was in 1761, the Marathas' dream of ruling from Delhi was shattered. And they were divided into many small states under different chiefs. Then comes the claim to paramountcy. Under Lord Hastings, Governor General from 1813 to 1823, no policy of paramountcy was initiated. Paramountcy means what? The supreme power, the claim to paramountcy. And through these policies, they annexed our territories, annexing or threatening to small territories. And in the late 1830s, the company were become worried about, and they introduced some other policies. And one such a policy that was the doctrine of lapse. The final wave of annexations occurred under Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. And he devised a policy that came to be known as the Doctrine of Lapse. The doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. That is, become part of company territory. One kingdom after another was annexed simply by applying this doctrine. Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagapur, and Jhansi. Okay, that was the final wave of annexation that occurred under Lord Dalhousie, and who was the Governor General from 1848 to 1856. And he devised a policy that came to be known as the Doctrine of Lapse. And what was it? The doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse. Then comes the concluding part, the conclusion. Thus, the East India Company was transformed from a trading company to territorial colonial power. The arrival of new system of technology in the early 19th century also aided this process. Several such policies that were introduced for annexing Indian territories, subsidiary alliance system, doctrine of lapse, etc. Steamships reduced the journey time to 3 weeks, enabling more Britishers and their families to come to far-off country like India. And by 1857, the company came to exercise direct rule over about 63% of the territory and 78% of the population of the Indian subcontinent. Here that the picture that it is given the political map of India, the first one that it is in the year 1765 and the last one that is in the year 1805. By 1857, the company came to exercise direct rule over India. Okay, students, that's all about today's portion. 3 such policies that we studied. Please read that portion that is given in the textbook. Thank you.